How to make a mixtape.
Now, the making of a good compilation tape is a very subtle art, many do's and don'ts. First of all, you're using someone else's poetry to express how you feel. This is a delicate thing. You gotta kick it off with a killer, grab attention. Then you gotta take it up a notch. But you don't want to blow your wad, so then you gotta cool it off a notch. And there are a lot of rules.
Yeah, I've got it down to one of these left that I need a song for, and I have the artist, I just don't have the song yet.
For some reason, as I did this, I was like, oh, I need to have honorable mentions to my pick in case you pick the same song. But as we pick one song, what are the chances of you picking the same song?
For a different category?
Yeah, totally.
Totally slim.
Because not only that, but like I'll talk about, because we'll each talk about each other's songs, or we'll each talk about the song that we would have had, but your pick is what will end up on the mixtape.
Yeah, I don't think there's I mean, we can do honorable mentions because there was a few I was debating on, but yeah, like I totally agree.
But we do have them all written on Post-its, and I have a draw from the hat here that will determine who gets what.
Oh, perfect. I was wondering how we were going to do it. If you were going to,
I've got it. I've got to sort it out.
So you're going to do it. Well, fuck it. Let's introduce the pod, introduce the theme,
and then we'll do coin toss for who gets first pick, because I also have a coin readily available, and then you can call it.
I love it.
This is intense. This is the ultimate.
Fun. All right, so this is episode 13 of How to Make a Mixtape podcast. I'm Roderick. I'm here as always with Don, and this is a podcast where we make mixtapes based on themes. But this is a special one because we have a mixtape worth of episodes, right? Like leading up to this one. This is episode 13. So we've had 12 episodes up to this point. So we are doing, well, I think we're going to do every 13 episodes. And we are going to make a mixtape today based on
the unluckies.
The unluckies, the songs that just didn't make the cut, or the songs that we've since been like, fuck, I should have put that on, which is most of mine. Is that what yours is too?
Totally.
So it's like, we even have the honorable mentions at the end of the episode. And even after all this time, it's like most of mine aren't honorable mentions. They're things that that hit me across the face later down the road. And I'm like, man, I should have picked that. Yep. And I actually feel attached to a couple of these. I'm going to be bummed if I don't get to pick.
Pick totally. There's a few that as I was going through the episodes and picking my songs, I was like, fuck, I really hope I get this one. And then there was some where I'm like, man, I really hope Rod gets this one because I don't really feel that confident about my choice.
Same. Well, you want to tell everybody how we're going to do this? How it's going to...
Yeah, so again, episode 13, The Unluckies. I have the first 12 episodes written down, just the episode number and name. We're going to coin flip. Rod's going to call it in the air for first pick or second pick. Rod will say, okay, I'll pick which episode he has to pick his song from. He will then give his song based on my episode pick. And for the first time ever, 13 episodes in, I have to sequence a mixtape, which is stressful. I didn't realize the stress that we put on our guests.
It is stressful. Have you looked at, I posted Ron's kind of in secret. Have you looked at his sequencing yet?
No, I didn't.
We did tell him we were going to critique his sequencing.
How is it?
I'll be honest, I put it out, but I haven't listened to it in sequence. It feels consistent throughout, I will say. He definitely took it up a notch for song number 2. Okay, he actually took it up a notch higher for song 3. It kind of like goes up, 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 and then he hits you with the pop song, like a catchy pop song. So I actually think the sequence is pretty fucking good. I think it's mixed genres really well, but it kind of elevates and then brings you down at the right moment, and then elevates and then brings you down at the right moment again. And he ends it on a high. He ends it with Whitney Houston. So I Want to Dance with Somebody, which is cool way to end it, right? Like a dance number. So I think he did a good job.
Let's talk about the importance of the sequencing in relation to the experience that I had on Friday.
Okay, so let the people know what experience you had on Friday.
Since November, I have had tickets to go see a screening of High Fidelity hosted by John Cusack at the Auditorium Theater in Chicago. On maybe Wednesday of last week, there was a post on our favorite Rob Harvella's Instagram saying that he would be the moderator of this screening.
Just incredible.
Just absolutely incredible. So I couldn't be more excited about this whole experience. Mind you, I've had the ticket since November. It's been rescheduled twice. It was supposed to be in October or December, rescheduled, supposed to be scheduled for March, rescheduled again, and finally went on in May. And Auditorium Theater, for those that don't know, huge historic theater in downtown Chicago. Absolutely beautiful. like iconic theater. We get there, get in our seats, absolutely gorgeous. And Rob Harvilla comes out and like does like a couple minutes, just kind of talking about like, you know, his podcast. And he makes a really funny jab about, you know, I'm the host of a podcast called 60 Songs That Explain the 90s. And not as much of the audience claps as I thought would. And he said, if you don't know what it is, go find one of those 12 people that clapped and they'll tell you all about it, which I thought was really funny. Great job, Rob.
Wow.
And so then they play the movie. The movie's fantastic as ever. I was really hoping for a Rocky Horror Picture Show experience. Like some of the best lines in the movie, I was hoping for audience participation. Like, what fucking Ian guy? Like, I wanted the whole audience to scream along with it, but I just did it by myself. So I made my own
singing along every time Jack Black sings, like the whole audience sings along or something like that. Or I'm picturing you as that Leonardo DiCaprio meme from that Quentin Tarantino movie where he's like, beer in hand pointing at the TV. But every time there's a quote you like, or there's a quote from like our intro, you're like, you're pointing, you're like, that's it.
I can for sure tell you that I drove the people that I went with absolutely insane. Okay. So fast forward, movie ends. Rob comes back out, introduces John Cusack. I forgot a key point. When you walk into the auditorium theater, there's tables with index cards. Write down your question for John Cusack. We're going to ask the questions at the end. Wrote down my question. I thought it was a good question. Did the music of the movie influence your music tastes moving forward in life? Is there bands that you didn't know about that were written in the movie? You know, and he like adapted the book to screenplay. He played a role in that. So when they started asking some of the questions, he had a lot of input in the music, which was fucking rad.
Yeah,
like,
I read somewhere or saw somewhere that him and the other screenwriters listened to over 2,000 songs in trying to decide what was going to be the movie. And I think there's 70 songs in the movie, which I can't imagine the licensing fees for that.
There's a playlist on Spotify of every song that's in the movie and every song they talk about in the movie that you can find on Spotify. Wow. It's a great fucking playlist. Fourth quarter, somebody in the production of this whole situation decides to go rogue and puts microphones in the aisles of the audience. Okay. So no longer are the index questions being asked. It's just microphones in the audience. Try and get in line to answer your question. I'm way far away, so I'm not getting in line. But like, it is what it is. Dude, the questions were so fucking bizarre. And at one point in time, a gentleman asking a question passes out and there's like a 15-minute awkward medical pause for like people to come and help this guy.
The hell?
And Rob and John Cusack just sit on the stage so awkwardly for a long time. Then a woman comes up and starts to talk about politics, gets booed out of her question, and then says that her mom was the president of the Engelberg Humperdinck fan club, and she wants to be the president of John Cusack's fan club, and has a poem to read to him. And he says, maybe we'll do that in another lifetime. Hysterical burn by John Cusack. Killed it.
Was she booed for her political views or just because she was trying to bring up politics in this
she was
of escapism?
Yeah, it was kind of all of it, man. Like, she was just so bizarre. Another girl jumps up and starts to talk about how the pandemic closed down a bunch of important venues in Chicago, like the Double Door, which is a huge part of, like, you know, they host the party at the Double Door at the end when the Kinky Wizards are releasing their album. And the girl's like, why didn't you and like other Chicago icons pool your money together and buy these venues to save these venues? And John's like, I don't have the money to go out buying venues. And like, it was so fucking uncomfortable. And Rob Harvilla absolutely crushed the moderation of it. He was a champ. Like, he did the best job. Like, I don't want to say dodging the questions because they did answer them still, but like, adapting the questions to react the way he should. Ultimate press conference activity for those that know. Rob Harvilla absolutely crushed it. But it was an amazing night. It was super fun. It was so weird and so fun and so funny. Absolutely worth the experience. So, but yeah, I was really, really excited, and I was excited to talk to you about it and how weird it was. I've got some photos. Maybe I'll share one on the Instagram. That's
awesome, dude. I'm jealous. I would have loved to have been there. Were there any kind of like things that you learned from the Q&A, or were all the questions just really fucking weird?
Totally, dude. No. There were, I would say it was maybe 60-40 great questions to shitty questions. One of the questions was at the very end scene when Rob is sitting down and proposing to Liz. He had written that scene to have a John Lennon song in it. And that was the only song in the whole movie that he couldn't get the rights to. And so it's not the John Lennon song that he wanted it to be. And I can't remember. I wish I would have taken the note of what song he wanted it to be. But in that moment, he wanted it to be a John Lennon song and he couldn't get the rights to that. And like, that was the first thing he said when the movie ended is like, and he came out, he's like, that was supposed to be a John Lennon song. And I was like, God, that's fucking rad. Like still, because the movie's been out for 25 years, still like that he evaluates the movie and is like, this was a missed opportunity.
The day that you told me that Rob Harvilla was going to be hosting this, like you text me, you're like, not only is this actually happening now, but Rob's hosting. That day, I had watched a video on like 20 things you didn't know about High Fidelity that just randomly showed up in my feed. So I watched it. There's been a lot of weird shit like that lately, which is weird. I don't know that I believe in any kind of weird stuff, but anyway, but I learned a lot on that too. Like, did he talk about, or did you know that originally they wanted Bob Dylan to be the vision that he had?
Yes.
And not Bruce Springsteen. And they couldn't get Dylan. And
originally, he also wasn't supposed to play guitar. He was just sitting there kind of being like the dude like that was talking to him. But like, it just so happened that there were guitars sitting around in place that they recorded. And John was there and he was like, hey, why don't you pick up the guitar if you want? And Bruce Springsteen just picked up the guitar and like read the lines. And I guess it took like so few takes that it was like absolutely perfect, like one or two. And Bruce Springsteen improvised the part where he says, well, they'll feel better, maybe, but you'll feel good. Like when he's talking about that, like Bruce Springsteen improvised that, which is so badass to know. But yeah, he did talk about that too. That was really cool.
We could geek out on that for a while, but maybe someday we'll have John on here. You know, that would be a dream. Dude. Have John on here. Dude. And then we can ask him some more questions, you know?
I feel like if that ever happens, it's going to be like when Chris Farley interviews George Harrison. Is like, hey, anytime that Reno Henderson does an interview with anybody where it's just like, that was pretty cool when you did that. Yeah.
Hey, I've got a question for you. Remember when you did that thing? That was cool.
Yeah. You remember? Yeah, that was cool. That's what it'll be like.
I want to spend a little time at least reflecting on, we made it to episode 13, man. We've got a whole mixtape worth of songs now. That's
crazy.
It feels like a lot of podcasts start and falter at the beginning, and I see why now, because this is a lot of work. Like, you think you're just talking to your friends about whatever, and then you just stick that sucker out there. And I guess you could do that, but that's going to be a pretty shitty podcast. Like, it takes a lot of work to like make it sound good and to think about the good right themes, and get guests takes a lot of work. Like, I'm proud of us because this is a lot of work, and I didn't realize how much work it was going to be, but we make something that I like listening to myself, you know, even though I hate the sound of my voice. And even though it's only been 12, this is episode 13. It still feels like we've been doing this for like a year. Time. It hasn't been.
And what do we take off? 1 week? We've had 1 week of no episode?
We've had 1 week off. Technically, I've like the release days have been pushed back slowly. And so let's call it 2 weeks. Okay. We put out 12 episodes in 14 weeks.
That's aggressive. That's an aggressive timeline.
Yeah. So, or rather 13 episodes in 15 weeks. It's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's pretty great. There was another serendipitous moment. Shit. I should almost call her. Dr. PCF went to the John Cusack thing with me, and she told me a story. We walked to grab some pizza before we went, and she told me a story where she has a student that was like kind of not meeting the expectations for some of the work that she had been doing. Like, Krista is like preparing this girl to be a doctor. Yeah. And the girl was like having some challenges, hitting some deadlines, blah, blah, blah. Krista scheduled a call with her, and they started like a candid conversation before they got into the details. And the girl was talking about something as she was cruising. Oh, she was listening to a podcast about punk. You know, she was like listening to a punk rock podcast, and we fucking popped up in her suggested. And she's like, oh, so I found your brother's podcast.
Wild.
And then listened to Krista's episode. So like, no knowledge of the podcast existing, no knowledge that Krista had been on an episode, and was like, oh, this popped up in my punk rock podcast suggesteds.
Yeah.
And so I listened, seeing your name, and now I'm a listener of your brother's podcast.
When Ron sent me his sequence, he said, by the way, I was telling my friend that I did an episode of this podcast because I thought he would like it. And I was like, I'll let you know when it comes out so you can listen to it. And he's like, oh, my brother listens to that podcast. He's told me about that podcast. Just some dude in LA who Ron knows is like, my brother listens to that and was telling me about it. Like, it's wild, man.
Oh, dude, here's another thing. Okay, so new gig for work. Pretty excited about it. It's been going awesome so far. Somebody that works for the company that I work for now was previously a higher up in Casper mattresses.
No shit.
So I might have like a plug to Casper. Shit. Yeah, for sure. Well, so like there's some kind of
a Casper mattress.
I know.
I just spent my hard-earned money on it because I didn't feel like I was going to get a free one.
Yeah, we're like 6 degrees of Casper mattress right now.
I mean, I'll take another one, I guess. I don't know what I'm selling on the black market, the black mattress market.
No, you should. But think about it. Like maybe your Casper mattress that you've slept on a few times is like, hey, one of the co-hosts of How to Make a Mixtape podcast, this is his mattress. You might want to get in on this one early.
Yep.
Maybe you sign it.
We sign mattresses. Here you go.
Yeah.
I want to take it back. I don't know if you have more questions and shit, but it's just the two of us, so I feel like we can banter for a little longer. I want to take it back to our early episodes. What have you been listening to, man? We haven't talked about that in a while.
Oh, dude. Well, I'm not going to get into. I told you I went to see LCD Sound System.
Yep.
So that's been heavy. I've been listening to a bunch of that. There was some shit I was listening to yesterday that I was pretty stoked on. We talked about the Defiant. Maybe not. Like maybe I know that there's a new Menzingers track out. I listened to that. I love that fucking band, man. It's like as if we growed up. We growed up,
man. You and I, we growed up.
It's like as if we growed up and started an adult version of a band of all the bands that we loved, but more adult. That's what I think the Menzingers are.
Yeah, that's a good description.
Man, it's fucking fantastic. So I've been listening to them again a lot as a result of the new track.
That's cool. I have been listening to a lot of punk, like heavier stuff. I think it's a mixture of the weather being nice, which for some reason makes me want to listen to heavy stuff, but also research for upcoming episodes and stuff has just gotten me back into it. But I'll tell you, I've been listening to this artist, Raye, R-A-Y-E. Oh. Do you know her?
Oh, that's not Ren. No. You went to Raye.
No, I did listen to some more Ren after that Crying episode because he's awesome. But no, Raye, she's got like 32 million monthly listeners. She's not small, but she was new to me.
I don't want to feel how I did last night. Anything, please. Have mercy on me.
She did this performance on SNL that was so good. It was this like throwback jazz meets pop kind of a thing, kind of like an Amy Winehouse vibe a little bit, but a little less soul and a little more jazz. And she crushed it. So I looked her up. That's not how her music is really. Like she did the jazz version of one of her songs on SNL, but the song itself is more like a pop R&B kind of song, like a dancey song, but she's awesome.
I can't wait to check that out.
She's awesome. So I've been listening to her. And then honestly, yesterday I listened to Nothing. It just hit me out of nowhere. I was obsessed with this dude in high school. I went and saw him a bunch of times, and I just have not listened to him for years. And I listened to nothing but Ted Leo and the Pharmacists yesterday.
Do you believe in something beautiful that cannot be feared?
Dude, it's so good. So Ted Leo is, even back when I was in college, this describes him. And now I just saw he's like one of the headliners at the fest this year. So he's playing again, which is cool. I know his wife passed away from cancer and he stopped making music for a long time.
Sure.
Yeah. Good stuff. But I didn't know the Menzingers had a new track out. I will listen to that.
Yeah, it's really good. God damn, I love that band.
Yeah, Ted Leo's similar artists are.
I would just check those out.
He was in a band called Chiseled. Like I think that was like the hardcore like emo band he was in. But yeah, it's suggesting like the Thermals and Superchunk and the Hold Steady and stuff.
I saw that. Very cool. You want to do the damn thing?
Yeah, let's just do it, man. I'm still, there's a couple I hope I don't get drawn because I just don't know.
I hope I don't get drawn. All right, heads or tails, and then you get to pick. What do you got? Call it.
Well, fuck it. Let's do the flip now. I'm gonna go tails.
It is tails.
All right, which means do I get to choose if I go first or second?
You get to choose if you go first or second.
Well, I'm going to go first then.
All right, read the rules, and then we'll pick your episode, and then you give me your track.
Yeah, and before I read the rules real quick, I got to find the right place in the pod to do this every week. But if you don't already follow the podcast, please follow it. Please rate us. Please, if you're on Spotify, answer our polls and questions because that helps with engagement too. Tell your friends about it. It's really fun. It's a fun podcast. We have a good time doing it. Your friends would enjoy it too. Tell your friends. Lastly,
it's fun.
As per our previous requests, I've started a YouTube channel. You can now listen to the podcast on YouTube or YouTube Music. But I also have been putting some videos up. There's going to be 2 companion videos for episode 12 that will be out by the time people are listening to this. They're not up yet, but they will be by the time this is out. So I think for starters, what I would like to post is we've been doing these debriefs after episodes where we kind of reflect on the episode that we literally just recorded, kind of immediate thoughts. We've done a couple of those. So those are up on YouTube. And then anytime I have to cut stuff out of episodes for time, I think that's where I'm going to put them. So not only can you listen to the outtakes, but you can watch the outtakes in video form on YouTube too. So, you can digest more how to make a mixtape podcast content on our YouTube. So there we go. There's our plugs, thoughts on that.
I just looked up how to make a mixtape on on YouTube, and there's a lot of videos on how to make a mixtape, but there's only one how to make a mixtape podcast.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff about like, if you're making like a hip hop mixtape, like technically how to do that or how to make a good one, stuff like that. So make sure you're looking up how to make a mixtape podcast, find our account, subscribe so you get alerts when we post new videos. I've got a couple coming out Monday, so they'll already be out. So there's a debrief video from O Canada episode. There's a debrief video from the Best of 87 episode. And then there's a pretty long outtakes video from the Best of 87 because that was a long recording and we had to cut some stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's fun.
Rod going and losing power on us.
I did. Yep. And that was wild. So. Hey, Donnie.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored. That's a new one.
Yep. No, and I'll tell you this much. The sponsor couldn't be a bigger bummer because it's definitely not Sotfo or Casper. But if you do have a small business that you need advertisement for, there's no better way to advertise than stickers.
Yep.
Right?
Slappers, sticky boys.
Stick them on light posts to get people to put them on their car. And small businesses should be supporting small businesses. So the official sticker sponsor of How to Make a Mixtape is a brand called Little Gimmicks. And Little Gimmicks, it's at Little Gimmicks on Instagram. That's your primary mode of communication right now. It is a small business owned by a buddy that's killing it in the sticker game. No minimum orders. You can order as few stickers as you'd like. High quality outdoor graded vinyl. Quality controlled by one person. They claim they're made with love, but I'm pretty confident they don't wash their hands. Quick turnaround time. They are in the Midwest, so they got some pride about where they're from. And other than that, I said in the reply as they were giving me information to talk about Little Gimmicks, I said, should I make sure I tell them how much of a wiener you are? And he said, yep, really lean into how much of a dummy I am. So if you want that person to be responsible for stickers to advertise your small business.
Yeah, if you want some sweet stickers by a big old dummy, go to Little Gimmicks and get those stickers.
Little Gimmicks, at Little Gimmicks on Instagram. Get yourself some custom stickers made.
Do they get a discount if they mention us?
They do. Yeah, it's 10% off. You get 10% off your order.
Oh, yeah.
If you mention How to Make a Mixtape when you contact him on Instagram, and he'll make you some damn stickers. We got some stickers coming out soon.
Yeah, and you know what I was stoked about is he's doing die cut stickers, which some places don't do. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you can get some cool shit.
Yeah, full color. They look awesome.
I'm stoked from him. Big old dummy doing big old cool stuff. So thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Little Gimmicks.
Thanks, Little Gimmicks.
Thanks for sponsoring this episode.
Appreciate it.
Back to the episode. All right. Here are the rules. Number one, you got to have
Here are the rules.
Here are the rules. Number one, you got to have a killer opening track that grabs the listener's attention. Number two, each song should flow smoothly into the next, creating a seamless listening experience. Number three, the mixtape should have a good balance of different genres, tempos, and moods because variety keeps things interesting. The mixtape should tell a story or convey a specific emotion. It should take the listener on a journey. Number five, it can't be too obvious, but it can't be too obscure either unless that's the theme. Number 6, you can't double up on songs by the same artist. And number 7, the closing track should leave a lasting impression and make the listener crave more. I hope there's not an artist issue here because I don't have backups for most of these. So
yeah, I have a couple backups. I have backups like the first 5, but I think again, like what are the chances that we're duplicating?
Not great, but then again, I had a duplicate artist as a possibility for a couple of these, so I guess it's possible. Anything's possible, you know.
That's what Jake Willis would say.
All right, well, I guess I got all excited about going first, like it was a draft, and I got to pick which one. But you're drawing it out of a hat, so it really doesn't matter what order we win in. I could have gone second. Here's
what I'm going to do. You know what? I'll even go one step further. Since we have 12, I'm going to put them at times, like on a clock. And then you can pick your time, and then based on the time you pick, that's what number I'll grab.
Oh, so you're just putting them on a circle, but randomly.
Yeah, I have no idea what's at which point on the circle. But yeah, I made a nice little circle. I'll take a picture of it so that we can post it. But yeah, now you can even go a step further.
You've got them upside down. You're just going to flip the numbers over.
They're folded, so I can't even see what they are. They look like that.
All right. Well, I'm going to go 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Drum roll, please. 7 o'clock, episode number 7, which was 60 songs, the songs that Rob Harvilla missed.
All right. Well, this wasn't one of my honorable mentions, but it was one that got brought up, I think, by Shane. Mm-hmm. Or maybe, I don't know who brought it up, but somebody brought it up later in the episode, and we all were kind of like, oh, shit, that would have been a good one. And it's Jamiroquai, Virtual Insanity.
Oh, that was Shane for sure.
Yeah, and as soon as Shane said that, I'm kind of like, how the hell did none of us think about Jamiroquai, Virtual Insanity?
Wait, was that me?
I don't remember who brought it up, but it was a great call.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody wins by me picking that because that absolutely should have been on.
I agree.
You know, I think my honorable mentions were down by 311, and because I don't think he did a proper rap rock episode, which I still agree with. And then I had Primitive Radio Gods, and we talked about how it would have been cool if he had done an episode on like the art of sampling. Like he talks about samples on different episodes of the show, but he could have done an episode on like sampling as an art form and like a cultural phenomenon. And so my suggestion on that was Primitive Radio Gods. But yeah, dude, Jamiroquai, Virtual Insanity, like it brought funk back into the mainstream, like straight up funk. Like it's just a funk song.
He's an artist that really kind of falls by the wayside. And like, look what he did in fucking Napoleon Dynamite. Like that song was massive.
Yeah, he had some. Well, it's like a collective. I think he becomes the face of it.
It's like a Hootie situation.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a collective. And I don't know the dude's name, but he had a couple. Like Canned Heat was a big song. Cosmic Girl was a big song.
God,
he was way bigger.
It's a great song.
Yeah, dude, it's a great song. He was way bigger, obviously, in like Europe and England and stuff. But it's not like Virtual Insanity. He's not a one-hit wonder. Like they had a few hits in the US even.
Yeah.
You know, he still has 5.5 million monthly listeners. So
that's crazy.
But they did, you know, I don't know their history as well either, but I know enough to know that like they tried a lot of different genres, and I think they hit it like they're at their strongest when it's the straight up funk stuff, because Canned Heat's a funk song, right?
Totally.
Which that came after. So I don't know if maybe Virtual Insanity, again, I'm talking out of my ass a little bit here, but like all their top 5 songs on Spotify are either Virtual Insanity or came out after Virtual Insanity, which means maybe they leaned into that funk sound more, right? And hit on that, because I know before that they were kind of experimental. Shane brought it up in the episode. He made a joke about the didgeridoo, but they had a full-time didgeridoo player in their band. Like they had a dude who that's what he played in the band.
What a cool instrument to be that good at.
So I don't know what their early stuff sounded like. I mean, I haven't gone back ever and listened to like early Jamiroquai. Maybe I should, you know?
He just got, it's unfortunate because I feel like they just got shadowed by like the Fatboy Slims and the Chemical Brothers. Dude, is it the dumb hat that made him less relevant? Like, did he get shadowed by a dumb hat? Like, because like there were
more relevant at the time and then instantly less relevant, right? It's like that was totally of that moment, but then it burned out really quick. Yeah. Great song though.
My pick for this one, which again, mine doesn't qualify. Yours is. Mine was Mr. Big, To Be With You. I'm the one who I feel like he didn't touch, outside of the one Guns N' Roses song, he didn't touch the fizzle out of hair metal at all. And Mr.
Which was
Big
big
would
in
have
the
been
90s.
like part of the fizzle.
Like early 90s was still hair metal.
Like early 90s, right? 90, 91, 92. Yeah. He didn't touch the fizzle out of that very much at all. You know, there was no Motley Crue. There was no anything else. So
I feel like that was the era of the power ballad too. Like as they were trying to stay relevant and they were getting on pop radio doing the power ballads. I feel like I'd have to look at this, but to my memory, most of the really big power ballads from those hair metal bands felt early 90s to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
Yeah.
I'm happy with my pick. I'm happy with Virtual Insanity.
Yeah.
That wasn't one of the ones that I was really hoping to get. We'll see.
That was not one.
No, I was either way on that one. I'm like, yeah, that's
okay.
You know,
all right, cool.
Fine.
I'm going 11 o'clock.
Okay.
All right, here we go. 11 o'clock. We have
episode 8, Spring.
Son of a bitch. That was the one. That was the one I wanted.
That's the one you wanted?
Yeah. It's all right.
Oh, shit. My bad. Well, that's okay. But it's because it's fresh. I did LCD Sound System, Dance Yourself Clean. After seeing them and like walking to the venue in the spring, like warmer evening and like the experience of the show, like they've been on heavy repeat for like the last couple of weeks. And it's just, again, it's just perfect spring weather. It's almost like it sounds like you're kind of putting winter behind you. You're kind of like, you know, I don't know. Are you experiencing cicadas?
No, I remember the bad broods back when I lived in Indiana. We do have cicada broods in Virginia, but we're not on the same schedule. So no, this isn't a cicada year here.
It is the gnarliest cicada year here.
Mm-hmm.
And like as that's happening and as the windows are open at night and as it's getting warmer where you're sleeping with the windows open, it is like LCD sound system from like 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. And it just feels perfect spring. Everything's getting warmer. Windows are open. Cicadas are cicadaing outside. And I think that it's totally relevant.
I miss the heavy brood years are differently because there's literally hundreds of millions of them all over the place. And that's wild. But I do miss in the Midwest in the spring and in the summer at night, like every summer, every spring, there'd be a few oddball cicadas that are broken and came out the wrong year, you know?
Yeah.
And you get those cicada sounds of like a lone cicada off in the distance. I love that. That is so summer to me. That makes me feel so just warm and fuzzy inside. That sound of not a million cicadas, but of like a few. And I do miss that. And I love that even if I didn't get this one, I like that yours is from actual experiencing spring lately. And like, you know what? I'm actually finding myself listening to this in spring. I think that's good. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
And that's very dancey and that's I can totally see that. I can see just wanting to be outside or like warm night. It's
starting to get warm. You know, there's still like a little bit of a chill. You're still wearing a hoodie, but it's not full blown summer yet. Yeah. I'm stoked on that one.
Yeah, that's a good
sure.
one.
And again, I don't know that I necessarily grew up being the biggest LCD sound system listener, but as of recently, it's definitely finding a niche where it's like, oh, I'll throw on LCD sound system. It's like just good to play all the time. But for this spring, it's really been
LCD's great. It takes a level of maturity to listen to them. It takes a level of patience to listen to them. You can't be in a hurry for a song to finish and listen to LCD sound system. You have to appreciate what they do and like listen to the full 9-minute track, right? You have to listen to the full 10, 11, 12 minutes.
Well put, Rod. Good job.
Well, I will tell you what I had because mine's similar. Yeah. And I think I teased this one to you recently. I was like, you know, when we did the spring episode, it actually wasn't warm here yet. It was still, it was unseasonably cold actually. And as soon as it did get warm and I found myself, you know, I've got a new car, so I've been driving more just for the fun of it. And I'll roll my windows down. And legit, the first nice day where I went out for a drive and put my windows down, this is the song. I just had this innate desire to listen to this song. And I'm like, well, shit, that's my windows down spring song. And I didn't even pick it. And it's Elite by Deftones. which is their like the most metal song on White Pony. Probably it's just the one that just from fucking start to finish is just raw, like screaming. And I love that song. And I love putting my windows down in that first day of warm weather and just being obnoxious and just
being that guy
screaming along with it. So, but anyway, LCD sound system. That's a good one.
Yeah. Your pick. What time are you going for?
Let's go noon. Let's go high noon.
High noon.
12.
All right, here we go. Opening it up. Episode 4, 90s one-hit wonders. Man, you got back-to-back 90s.
Oh, so this is a last minute.
Episode 4, almost 90s one-hit wonders.
Yeah, this one was a switch for me because I originally had a very one-hit wonder on here. Like everybody knows this as a one-hit wonder. And then I just remembered that I put myself back in recording that episode. And it was some obscure one-hit wonders. It was some bigger one-hit wonders, but maybe not the biggest one-hit wonders. And I'm like, I'm sticking with that. I'm just sticking with it.
Yeah.
And I'm pulling this one out of my ass, but I'm going with The Flies, Got You Where I Want You.
Dude.
Do you remember this song?
That's a great... Oh, I fucking love that song.
I had this CD, dude. Like, and they're like kind of like a rap rock band, right? Like this song was the single and it was their one hit wonder. And it's another one of those artists where it's like, maybe you should have been making music like this because that's not what you normally sound like. And that was what your one hit,
right?
You know what I mean? Like the whole Lynn situation. But like they had a song called The Gods of Basketball on this album that I remember liking when I was like in middle school or whatever, like a freshman in high school.
Totally.
I mean, this came out when I was in 8th grade. So it's like, you know, but yeah, it's got this, dude, look at the album cover. How late 90s is it? It's like a fisheye shot of a dude skydiving and he's upside down. And then The Flies and the title of the album Holiday Man is in this like fake computer generated chrome looking thing. And like,
oh, dude, that is the most 90s album cover I've ever seen.
It's so 90s.
Holy shit.
They have song titles like Sexual Sandwich, The Gods of Basketball, Girls Are the Cruelest, She's So Huge. These are Superfly. These are all the most 90s song names.
It doesn't get my recent, I wouldn't say recent. Jesus Christ, man. They put out 3 albums. Holy shit.
Yeah.
They were on every 90s soundtrack, probably. At least that's my experience. And my most recent mess with this song is, have you ever seen the movie Sex Drive?
No.
It is in the same vein as like a fucking American Pie.
Okay.
You know, like it falls in. This album cover is in the same genre of those movies. It's this hysterical movie about this loser kid who meets a girl online and he wants to go meet her in person, but obviously it's a guy. James Marsden is in the movie and he plays like his bully brother. If you want to watch a bad, probably early 2000s movie that'll just make you laugh at dumb shit, this is it. And this song is at a pretty funny moment in the movie. But yeah, it's a great fucking call. That's a great fucking 90s one-hit wonder.
It was in a movie called Disturbing Behavior for sure. That's one I found so far, but it's probably in others too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got that like Rasta rap part at the end of it, right? And I'm like, I don't know who's doing that, and I don't know if they should be, or maybe they like, I don't know who the individual is doing that, if it's a guest or if it's somebody in the band, but yeah, man.
Dude, the picture of this band in the about section on their Spotify.
Oh, for sure.
The most 90s fucking photo I've ever seen.
Yeah, dude. The big long wallet chain, the like 90s looking Oakleys.
I think the guy in the background is wearing a thermal under his t-shirt.
For sure. And the dude in the white t-shirt has like just super baggy Dickies on and some Vans. Like these dudes are total SoCal 1996, 1998, whatever.
Yep.
What was your pick going to be?
Paper Cut by Linkin Park. No, that's my Y2K shit. The Impression That I Get by the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
Yeah, that's Okay. They're not one hit wonders. I don't feel like they're one hit wonders, but maybe just in my world, they're not one hit wonders.
All right. Well, then my second one was going to be Send Me On My Way by Rusted Root.
Send me on my way. Send me on my way. Send me on my way.
Oh, definitely one hit wonder. Yeah.
That's a huge one hit wonder.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's one of those bands that got big in like the jam band world, right? And
yeah, for sure.
Does their thing. All right. Well, we know your Y2K pick. Let's hope I get that one.
Yeah, let's hope you get that. Well, I got for some reason I have a backup for Y2K, but yeah, I hope that's my. All right, I'll pick right now. I'll go 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, episode 5, Y2K. My pick for episode 5, Y2K is Linkin Park, Paper Cut.
It's like a paranoid broken over my back. It's like a whirlwind inside of my head. It's like I can't stop what I'm living within. It's like the face inside is right beneath my skin.
There we go.
But yeah, again, like that was the rap rock genre. We talked about rap rock a ton in the episode. My honorable mention for that pick was going to be Let Me Blow Your Mind by Eve and Gwen Stefani.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's so much Y2K in that video and that song and the rap rock collaboration. But my pick is going to be Linkin Park, Paper Cut. And I remember buying that album, and I remember, I don't know if it was that I thought they were better than regular rap rock because I didn't like Korn. I didn't like Limp Bizkit. But then it was like they, for some reason, had integrity.
They were better. So I was in high school when this came out. And I bought it when it came out too. And I maybe people don't remember this because they always, like, Linkin Park now gets put into that whole nu metal thing. Linkin Park were not viewed as nu metal when this came out. I think they kind of merged into that as like genres got consolidated, right? So it's like as bands started breaking up or like new rock music started coming out, it's like, well, they're more nu metal than not. Just like nobody called Deftones nu metal, nobody called Linkin Park nu metal until later. They were not considered nu metal, even though they rapped. And yeah, they had like electronic stuff in there. They were just heavier. They weren't doing like slap bass stuff. They weren't doing like weird guitar rhythms. They were just trying to. And I kind of outgrew Linkin Park. Like I haven't listened to Linkin Park in years.
Nobody has.
I only ever listened to Hybrid Theory. Like I got really into this record. It won a bunch of awards. It was huge. And then I kind of instantly got out of them. I never listened to their follow-up, even though it was big too.
Exact same trajectory.
But they weren't, when this came out, it did feel different. This was just alt rock.
It was like they had integrity.
Yep. That's a great way to put it. And they were heavy on alt rock radio. And I was into this record.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I think they fit more when this came out in my mind. And I feel like the way they were played in the radio too was more like a heavier Incubus with rapping or something like that to me versus like Korn and Limp Bizkit.
It felt less gimmicky, right? Korn and Limp Bizkit felt like a gimmick. You know, there was like a white guy with dreads or, you know, a wacky makeup guy. Whereas this one felt like they were maybe musicians that were talking about something relevant. You know, it wasn't Adidas. It wasn't All Day I Dream About Sex. It wasn't Chocolate Starfish. It was, you know, like, I don't know, maybe like I said, the best way I can describe it is it felt they had more integrity.
Well, and in the scheme of things, you're right. You had those nu metal bands like Korn and Limp Bizkit. We keep going back to them because they're the big ones. And, you know, I think Korn's way better of the two. But, and I don't think Korn doesn't have integrity at all. In fact, I think they kind of invented that they invented a whole new sound in a way by merging other stuff. So props to Korn. Like I'm not bashing on what they do. I'm just not really into it. But that led to, it's not like that led to Linkin Park. Linkin Park just came out doing their own thing and then got lumped in with those bands. What that stuff led to me, in my mind, was the Papa Roaches and the PODs and that stuff. So that was coming out around the same time too. And so when this record came out, when Hybrid Theory came out, it did feel more post-grunge alt rock that just happened to have like turntables and rapping, which is not like they were the first band to do that either. Right. And not be considered nu metal. Like nobody called 311 nu metal. Nobody called, you know what I mean?
Incubus came out with Science. Science was fucking...
Nobody called Incubus nu metal.
Yeah. I fucking loved Incubus.
It's good, dude. And you're right. This is highly influential record. And you know, I got they were a flash in the pan for me, but there was like a summer where I rolled hard on this record for sure. Yeah. I had Christina Aguilera, Genie in a Bottle for Y2K. because I don't remember us doing like boy band, girl band.
Yeah.
Not
That's a great call.
Pop idol feud stuff. But
all right. What's next on the clock?
well, let's go 5 o'clock for number 5.
5 o'clock for number 5. Episode 10. Oh, Canada.
Episode 10. Oh, Canada. All right. This is less for me and more for Jessica, because I think after that episode, she was a little disappointed that we didn't hit on any of the like legacy acts from Canada.
Dude, I've got a lot of flack from Canadians that it's like, how did you not have a fucking Celine Dion song? How did you not have a fucking Justin Bieber? Yeah.
And I'm going Celine Dion. I'm just doing it. I'm just doing Celine Dion, and I'm doing It's All Coming Back to Me now. Because that's
fucking song.
And I went back and listened to her big hits, and I can die happy never hearing that song that was on Titanic ever again.
You're nuts.
And I'm not saying it's not a great song. I've heard it 10 too many times in my life already.
Sure.
This song sounds like like Meatloaf. It sounds like a Meatloaf song, but sung by this diva with an incredible, crazy, talented, vocal performance.
Yeah. Rob Harvilla talks all about it in his episode. Like, these people don't sing these songs. These people fucking perform these songs. Meatloaf and Celine Dion don't sing. They perform. Like, it is she is a goddamn powerhouse. Whether it is a genre you lean into or not, you cannot deny that woman's ability to fucking perform a song.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't get a residency in Vegas. I mean, people kind of make fun of Vegas, but like nobody's going to invest that level of money into somebody unless they're one, incredibly talented, and two, can just draw people. You're not drawing people just for your catalog at that point. You're drawing people because you're such an entertainer. Like, you can put on such a show that people are going to spend their vacation money. Yeah. Right. On a really expensive Vegas show or whatever. And she's that level of performer.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I've seen the Titanic song by myself.
But this song was written, by the way, by Jim Steinman, who
it's the Meatloaf dude.
Wrote all the Meatloaf stuff and wrote for Bonnie Tyler, and wrote that really epic song by the band Berlin, I think. Their big hit, like
Take My Breath Away.
Take My Breath Away. His songs are all that way. They're all these like epic stories, inspirational, like you put them all in like a musical. And that's this song, and it's great. It's a great song. And Canadians, I hope you all know that it was all done in love. Like, Donnie and I were just going through Canadian artists and finding all these artists that we loved already that just happened to be Canadian that we didn't know, and we want to talk about them. It wasn't done in malice. I appreciate the fact that The Weeknd is from Canada, and Bieber's from Canada, and Avril Lavigne's from Canada, and Joni Mitchell, and all these people. Yep. It just didn't happen in the episode. But here you go. Celine Dion, we all appreciate Celine.
This is one for myself where I did have to put my honorable mention in there, which I didn't want to do, but I was so pissed that I didn't put Pup on the mixtape. And I just went with DVP, which is their most streamed song. Another one of those bands. I was introduced to the Pup and the Menzingers around the same time. And so I have this big bucket in my music preferences for these two bands at the same time. And I fucking love Pup. God, are they good. And not a whole lot to say. I would put them in with the Menzingers, where it's like age appropriate rock for our genre now, like still punk adjacent, but, I fucking love Pup.
They're great. Have you ever seen them live?
Yes. We talked about it when I threw it in at the end, where I was in the old guy balcony.
Oh, that's right.
Crowd sways.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks for caring. Did your mom have this Celine Dion album? It's the one where she's like in the white t-shirt on the white background and like blue jeans and just looking like the very iconic. I feel like it's her more iconic album cover. Maybe let's talk about Love is more. I'm not sure, but I feel like it was
Mom's got it free with samples of Tide.
Well, it came with if you bought jeans at JCPenney or Kohl's, it came with your jeans.
That's even better.
But Celine Dion. There we go.
All right. Great call. We have 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7, 8, 9.
1, 2, 3 o'clock. Sorry,
Yep. And then we have 8, 9, 10 o'clock. I'm going to go 2 o'clock. Oh, son of a bitch, man. I didn't want this one.
What'd you get?
Backpack Rap.
So we're all just getting the ones that we didn't want. The both we all.
So
by all, I mean
it's
both of us.
the toughest part with Backpack Rap is I feel like I have no credibility. Like every other genre, I feel like I can talk about credibly a little bit. Like not well, you know. Again, we don't have any fucking credentials in terms of the whole damn podcast. But Backpack Rap, especially after sitting down on that episode and just collecting information nonstop from that episode to now have to try and talk about a genre that I don't have much of a relationship with.
John was like,
go ahead,
unbelievably knowledgeable on this topic. Like he could teach a class on underground hip hop and this stuff. And so I am into this. I do listen to hip hop. I do listen to a lot of what I would call backpack rap. And even I was kind of like in awe and speechless at times in that episode. So don't
all
feel
of the
too bad.
feedback that I've gotten from people that are well versed in that genre, people that really know about backpack rap, when I asked for like, oh, you know, the backpack rap, I didn't feel that confident about it. And they're like, yeah, it was pretty obvious that one person on that episode knew a lot about backpack rap, and then 2 people on that episode did not. And I was like, oh, I wonder who plays what role in that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what song?
But here's my song is "God Loves Ugly" by Atmosphere.
I'm pushing on the hammer to trigger the brain. Embrace how I live, 'cause God loves ugly.
And I picked Atmosphere. I know that I think we talked about it a little bit, and we talked about Slug a little bit on that episode.
Yep.
But I picked this one because, you know, Midwest Pride, the dude's from Minnesota. And again, the only correlation that I can really say to backpack rap, which I know is not right, is that this was what I listened to that not everybody else was listening to that made me feel cool. And that's like, oh, you don't know Atmosphere? And again, I wasn't even like a super deep Atmosphere listener. Like I liked Atmosphere, but like it was the thing where it was like, oh, you don't know who this is, but I do. So I feel a little bit more, I feel like I'm cooler than you because I know this artist. I mean, not from a pretentious standpoint, even though that was exactly the definition that I just gave. But like, I was excited to introduce people to this, knowing that I knew a little bit and they knew nothing. And I think I used the example of like, it was like I was the kid who had smoked weed twice talking to the kid who had smoked weed once. You know, like, oh, dude, no, I know so much more about it than you do.
Well, this is backpack rap though. So from a credibility standpoint, like you're there. I mean, you're right. Like John brought up Atmosphere and Slug and some of those guys from that like really obscure pick he had. And I don't remember the artist off the top of my head, but I do think the Midwest thing mattered to where we're from though, too, because Atmosphere got pretty massive in the like underground. Like if you were listening to any kind of underground music, or if you were in college, maybe, or high school around this time, Atmosphere came across for you, right? Like if you were into punk rock, if you were into hip hop, if you were into metal and hardcore, I feel, you know what I mean? Like I feel like if you're in any underground music in the Midwest, you were aware of Atmosphere around like 2000 to 2005, somewhere in there. So, you know, I listened to a lot of Atmosphere around this time too. Like he was, or they, I guess they were my, probably my intro into this world of hip hop, to be honest, because I was listening to more mainstream hip hop or like throwback hip hop. You know, I remember around this time I was listening to a lot of like Biggie and Tupac and stuff like that, right? Like Nas and stuff. And then
I leaned way more gangster rap than I leaned backpack rap. Like I listened to a shit ton of gangster rap. And if you want to talk about like Dre and Snoop and that fucking all of that shit, I feel again credible about that one. But backpack rap was just my Achilles heel of genres that I felt really good talking about. So
nice.
Again, I don't know if my contribution's good. I don't know if it's relevant, but that's what I got for my backpack rap.
I think it's relevant and it's good and it's backpack rap. So it's fine. I was going to do the Far Side, Passing Me By.
Now in my younger days, I used to sport a shag. When I went to school, I carried lunch in a bag with the apple.
I was a little surprised the Far Side didn't come up.
I think I had that as an honorable mention.
Did you? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
That makes sense. And I that would have been my pick. In retrospect, that felt like a kind of a missed artist there. But all right.
You've got 1, 3, 6, 8, 9, 10.
Let me go 9.
Okay, number 9. Ooh, episode number 1. Real big throwback. Songs recorded off the radio.
I was really stoked at my choices on this one.
So
go ahead. What do you got?
Hey Man, Nice Shot by Filter.
Ooh, great call.
I remember hearing this on the radio. I remember this being in heavy rotation, and it was very one-hit wonder vibes until Filter put out that record with Take My Picture or Take Your Picture on it.
Yep.
Like they were kind of in that one-hit wonder realm. It was always like the guy that was in Nine Inch Nails' new band, and then it was just this one song. But dude, I loved this song so much. I loved the bass line. I love the way he screams. I love kind of that distorted talking verse. He's got like half singing, half talking. And because it was more of a one-hit wonder, this is totally a thing I would have recorded off the radio on a mixtape instead of going out and buying the album. I don't know how confident I was in like alt rock and heavy music at the time to go buy CDs unless it was like Green Day or The Offspring or something like that. So this is totally something I would have recorded off the radio.
Did you ever watch the documentary Hired Gun? I think it came out on Netflix or Hulu about hired musicians.
I have watched it. I'm trying to remember which. It's still streaming right now. I think
it's on Peacock. It's on a bunch of shit. But the documentary, and I know that they talk quite a bit about Filter in this, of them like eventually moving on from Nine Inch Nails because they were kind of hired guns for Nine Inch Nails.
Yep. The rumor is hired guns who didn't really get paid.
Right.
The
exactly.
rumor. It depends on which side of the story you want to believe.
Yep, exactly. So that was and that came out in 2016. That documentary did, but it was just super interesting, that perspective. And I know that they're still pretty salty about it, but I'm stoked to have seen them come out and do their own thing and be successful doing their own thing. Filter was great. I loved Filter. They were one of those bands that was like, pretty angry. Pretty like. Hey Man, Nice Shot is a great building song. It's just really well done. It's just a really well written, performed song. So,
yep. And let's not forget about Can't You Trip Like I Do, and then the remix version with the Crystal Method that was on the Spawn soundtrack that also helped get me into electronic music because it was that merging of electronic and like heavy music. And I think that version of that song's better. The remix is better in my opinion, but
probably would have been on the Wipeout soundtrack.
Filter had those two. Oh, totally. Well, that's funny that you say that because I was just about to say those two records. So Short Bus 95, which Hey Man, Nice Shot's on, and then Title of Record from 99, which has Can't You Trip Like I Do and Take a Picture on it. The album cover for both of those don't look like heavy alt rock. Like if you don't know who Filter is and you look at those two, you think it's like a Chemical Brothers type thing. It's got those like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Those random shapes and like the way the text is used, it gives total Wipeout vibes, man. It gives total 90s electronic artist vibes.
Yeah, it gives real Wipeout vibes.
It does.
It does. You're absolutely right. I just love that that's its own genre now.
What was yours going to be?
The Sign by Ace of Base.
Oh, that would have been good too. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm saving Ace of Base. I have them in mind for a very specific episode.
Yeah. But the Sign by Ace of Base would have been my record off the radio. And then I did eventually own the album. But I do remember, again, now super vividly going back, recording The Sign off the radio and just playing the shit out of that song. Nice. Great call with Filter, though. Stoked on that one. All right. I'm going numero uno. Number 1.
Sorry, I got to say this. I'm looking at their merch right now.
Yeah.
They have... sorry, I have to pull this up to give you the full title. They have Short Bus. So like it's the album cover of Short Bus on a spray bottle, and it's called Short Bus Space Transforming Room Spray. Formulated with the purest essential oils and non-toxic luxury fragrances, this spray is safe for fabrics, linens, and a touch-up spritz for the hair, body, hats, gym clothes, etc. The scent is a warm, relaxing blend of patchouli, nag champa, vanilla, and cedar. And they have Short Bus hand-poured luxury candle with the same scent. So if you want...
Here's the deal.
It's not even Filter branded. It's specifically Short Bus, the album branded room spray and
here's
candles.
what we're going to do. Okay, so apparel is right around the corner. Okay, so we're going to have apparel out here sooner than later. With the profits that we make from sold apparel, we will buy a Short Bus candle and room spray.
Yes.
And then we will have maybe a quiz, maybe some kind of competition. Maybe like if you suggest your best theme and we pick it, we will mail the listener and a shirt and then the Short Bus room spray and candle. That has to happen in the future.
It has to happen. Like I have to own these things. The candle is $30 and the room spray is $25.
Holy shit. Never mind. We're not sending anybody anything. I'm going to spend $55 on Filter room spray. That's the craziest shit I've ever heard. Jesus
Oh, they have
Christ,
other albums in different scents. Like you can also get the Algorithm candle, which is another one of their records from down the road. If you want a different scent, it's more tobacco and vanilla, as I would expect from the Algorithm. Dude, this is blowing my mind. I just love the pretension of putting out a scent based on an album.
Yeah,
but I also kind of just love it. I'm like, you know what? This is what this album smells like to me. As the artist who put this album out. Like I imagine him sitting there like doing all these scent combination tests and being like, that's a little more Algorithm than Short Bus to me.
I guess.
So weird.
All right. I picked number 1, which was episode 9, which was the family affair. Mm-hmm. And the fact that nobody on the whole fucking family episode brought up the Misfits is fucking sad, because Jerry Only and Wolfgang von Frankenstein are fucking brothers.
I don't think I knew that, and I've listened to that Misfits Bandsplain, so I'm sure they talked about it because it was a 4-hour-long episode on the Misfits, but I don't remember them being brothers.
It's Gerald I'm going to butcher it. Kayafra is Jerry Only, Gerald Kayafra, and Dr. Doyle Wolfgang von Frankenstein is Paul Kayafra. They are brothers.
What song?
Skulls.
Have you confirmed that that's brother era, or were they permanent in the band? I don't remember the lineup shifts.
So Skulls is off of the first full album, I believe.
Because they had some weird stuff early on too, right? Whereas a lot of singles that weren't on albums and stuff. Stuff got released later as collections, and you just can't keep track of all that shit. Yeah,
Skulls is off of Walk Among Us, which was those two in the band. Jerry Only and Doyle were in the band together for Skulls. So, and again, I could have picked any early Misfits song, but the fact that none of us talked about the Misfits is fucking sad.
Yeah, dude, didn't hit my radar, honestly. Just didn't, that they had brothers.
Yeah. When I was getting ready for this episode, I somehow found a list of every band with siblings in it. It was a Wikipedia page. I don't know if it's every band, but it was a fuckload of bands. Could you ever be in a band with your sister?
No.
I could never be in a band with my sister.
No, I couldn't.
I couldn't imagine being in a band with a sibling.
No, my sister and I would get along okay, but I said no very quickly, actually, probably more for her sake. I don't think she could be in a band with me. Maybe is the more fair way to say it.
Yeah.
I think I could be in a band with her, actually. I don't think she could be in a band with me. I don't think we could be in a band together. There, that's the way to say it. I was going to go with my honorable mention on this one. I was going to go with No Doubt, Sunday Morning.
Would have been a good one.
Which was my honorable mention. It's a great song. All right. 9?
3,
still
6,
available?
8, 10. No.
Let's go 3.
3. Opening it up. Ooh, episode 12, 1987.
Another honorable mention, because I just couldn't. We just did that episode. I couldn't be bothered doing more research. Honestly, I'm just going to go George Michael, Faith.
What it takes to stop them, baby, but I'm showing you the door. 'Cause I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith.
It's a good call.
And I don't feel like talking about it too much because it's Faith by George Michael. I don't know. What do you want? It was one of the biggest hits of 1987, and it's a good song. George Michael was huge. And that was when he was going solo.
Do you think that, and maybe this is a generational thing as well, I feel like George Michael was not a one-hit wonder, went on to do more. But do you think that like
late 80s, early 90s, when artists were defined by one hit, it didn't necessarily, the rest of their catalog like kind of falls by the wayside? Like I know that there's other George Michael singles. I'm positive that there are. I Want Your Sex is another George Michael
Careless
single.
Whisper,
But like
Freedom 90.
For sure. But you primarily remember one single.
Yeah.
Whereas if you bring up No Doubt, you're going to say 10 songs. Is that because of my preference or is that because of the generation?
It might be both. I think sometimes it might just be I don't think it's a generational thing. I think it's just certain artists have their like premier hits that just overshadow everything else, even if they have other hits, you know. Although I will say Careless Whisper has more plays on Spotify than Faith. Double the plays.
No shit.
Double the plays.
Cow.
It has over Careless Whisper has over 1 billion plays and Faith has 540 million. Yeah.
Wow, that's mind blowing to me.
And that's obviously just George Michael. Like then if you go Wham, I mean Wham had Wake Me Up Before You Go.
Yeah, for sure.
Club Tropicana, Freedom, and then Last Christmas. Which is
great fucking song.
Great song.
Great fucking song. God, I can't wait for the Christmas songs episode.
And they had some others too. But yeah, like it's a good call. There's definitely other artists that I associate one song with, even though they have others. And I'm trying to think off the top of my head who that
like further on, like in the 2000s. I mean, I guess like, but like somebody that big that you only affiliate one song. You only associate one song. Like if you say George Michael, you say Faith.
Well, I do. I'm with you. Like to me, that's it. But I'm not sure.
I don't know. Maybe I'm talking myself into a circle.
What did you have on this one?
What do we have mostly? What this was episode 12?
It was 87. Best of 87.
Oh,
yeah.
I put Tiffany. I Think We're Alone Now.
Then you put your arms around me and we tumble to the ground and then you say, I think we're alone now.
That's a good one.
But I'm actually happy I didn't get that one because I might want to use that one for a covers episode in the future. But
okay, I think it's a good one though. I mean that you know that gets into that whole like mall tour thing that happened in the 80s and 90s.
Live.
Did you at a mall?
No, at an event, at a work event.
Oh yeah. What year was that?
I have a video of it in my phone.
That was before my time. I think that's wild. Yeah. All right, let's plug along. I don't have much to say about 87. We just did that whole episode.
That's fine. That's fair. I'm going to go 10. 10. We've got episode 3 riffage. I'm fucking stoked to get this one. And I'm going to do Reptilia, The Strokes.
Ooh, good one.
I put 2 down for this one. I was either going to do Reptilia, The Strokes, or I was going to do Holy Diver by Dio. Either would have been amazing.
Look at you going indie rock.
Yeah, I did go indie rock. And like my plan was in this to talk about the bands, which I know that we have an episode coming, in the future called the bands. Yeah. But
for sure. There's plenty.
The Strokes, there's plenty. Tons. Yeah. But that Reptilia, I remember when those albums, like the Strokes albums started to come out, I remember they were probably on the forefront of that indie rock genre. And I remember when that album came out, why is the name of the album?
Room on Fire.
Is that what it was on?
Yeah, it's on Room on Fire. Yeah.
Oh, it is on Room
You're
on
thinking,
Fire.
Is This It though? Like the first.
I was thinking, Is This It? I remember Is This It coming out and being like, this is the start of a new genre of music.
Yeah. It did feel that way. It felt like a new era of garage rock, right? It felt like this is what garage rock is going to sound like now in this next decade.
Right.
It was like them. It was that New York City garage. It came from like noise rock. There's some good documentaries on this too, but it came out of like this noise rock era that led to these garage bands centered in New York City, like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs and the Strokes and stuff like that.
Fuck, I love the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. God damn, are they good?
But it's a great pick. It's a great riff. It's maybe an underappreciated riff. I mean, that it leads in with that bass. It's not even a bass line. It's just a bass note.
But then you get into that, like that little bridge, the little melody bridge piece where it's the bass line and the guitar, kind of the call and answer. Fuck, that's so good. So good.
Yeah. I was going to do Bulls on Parade. From Rage.
Damn, that would have been a great
And I like
one.
that riff because it's 2 notes. And it kind of is mind-blowing how iconic of a riff it is when it's just 2 notes just played in this weird syncopated rhythm, right? The da-da, da-da, da, like that's it over and over. But you can't help but like bob to it, like get into it. Like you're like, yeah. You know, so it's a good one. But I'm stoked that you picked the Strokes, actually. Like it feels good when you pick an indie rock song.
Yeah. You feel justified. You feel vindicated.
We'll do a little bit.
We could do a whole episode about rage songs, and we could do a whole episode about the rage song formula, because there is no more formulaic band in terms of songwriting where you can write down the song almost to the second of saying intro, verse, chorus, verse, whisper, chorus, and wacky guitar solo, and the song.
Yeah, and he does so much stuff. Like, he's gotten a lot of props for this, and some people hate him. Some people hate the way he plays guitar. I think he's brilliant. Like in the Bulls on Parade, the thing that comes after that intro riff is that like the
wacky guitar solo.
The wah part comes in. That's just one note. He's just doing a thing on a wah pedal to make the one note sound different, and then maybe that's just another riff. So it's like you got 2 big riffs in that song. But yeah, there's some formulaic bands out there. The Strokes are pretty formulaic too.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like almost every one of their songs has the same BPM. You know what I mean? The same like exact speed.
That's true.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. They're great at what they do. I love the Strokes.
Yeah, of course.
All right. What's left? There's only 2 left, right?
6 and 8.
6 and 8. Let's go 6.
6.
It's either About a Girl or Eyes Leak, right?
It is episode 11, Songs That Make Your Eyes Leak.
Damn, that's the one I was hoping not to get. All right. I'll be honest. I really struggled to get another sad song. I had just emotionally exhausted myself.
Yeah.
Picking the songs for that episode already. I've had an emotionally exhausting week on top of it, and I really didn't want to think about sad songs. So I just went with something that got brought up on the episode, which is Fix You by Coldplay.
I will try to fix you.
I'm just like, I remember talking about that song. It's a sad song. I'm putting it down. Fix You, Coldplay, done. It's sad. What more do you need? I got nothing else to say about it. If you don't want the super sad version, listen to the Alex Melton version. But do you know that dude?
It's happier? No.
He turns like, you probably seen him on TikTok or Instagram and stuff, but he's that like redheaded bearded dude that does pop, like emo pop punk covers of songs, or he'll do like Wonderwall in the style of Blink-182, and it straight up sounds like if Blink-182 covered Wonderwall. He did he puts music out now that are covers too. I think he does some original stuff too. I'm not sure, but he did a really good cover of Fix You.
Oh, I'm excited to check it out.
If you want to listen to Fix You and not cry, you know.
Yeah.
What were you going to pick on this one?
Have you ever heard of Pete Droge?
Of who?
Pete Droge.
No, I haven't.
He's a little folk rock Americana type dude. Have you ever seen the movie Almost Famous?
Yes.
There's a random scene in the movie Almost Famous where William, the reporter, gets to a hotel and they walk past a room and there's a guy playing guitar in the room and him and a woman are singing. That's Pete Droge. It has no relevancy in the movie whatsoever. But for some reason, James Cameron put this in there. Fuck, man. Now I don't know if James Cameron is it Cameron Crowe. It's not James Cameron. Son of a bitch, Crowe. Man. I'm doing a bad job with names today. Cameron Crowe put Pete Droge in this movie, and it is just this beautiful 3 seconds of them singing songs. Well, I've been listening to Pete Droge for a long time prior as like this folk Americana guy. The song is called Hampton Inn Room 306.
I'm not calling to say I love you. I'm not calling to say I care.
And it's just him with an acoustic guitar playing the song about how he's away from the person that he loves. And now he's just calling them to like kind of talk about how he loves them. Really, really sad song. But he does a great job just kind of pulling it together. And it sounds like it's recorded literally in the hotel room. It's like a really mellow song, but it's a big one for sure.
Nice.
Great song.
All right.
Pete Droge, Hampton Inn Room 306. Last song, Girl's Name.
About a Girl episode. Yeah.
Bringing it all the way back. First guess. And I'm going to do Oh Sherry with Steve Perry.
Oh Sherry with Steve Perry.
Oh Sherry with Steve Perry. I was going to do Last Chance with Mary Jane. Was that one of your honorable mentions?
It might have been, or I brought it up at least.
Yeah. But I'm doing Oh Sherry with Steve Perry. This is post-Journey Steve Perry.
Yep.
So this is solo Steve Perry. And again, another one of those, if Steve Perry were to sing a Celine Dion song, I feel like it would be performed versus saying. I feel like Steve Perry has a fucking amazing voice and just absolutely fucking crushes it. And I love this song.
Should have been gone.
Yeah.
This is a great song. I'm not a Journey fan. We'll probably get into it at some point on this podcast in a more appropriate episode, but I'm not a Journey fan, but that's not because of Steve Perry necessarily. Yeah. You can't deny his singing ability. Sure. I much prefer this to anything Journey ever put out. And like this song, oh yeah, this is a great song. I absolutely would go and listen to this song, and anyway. Just not a Journey fan, really. Whatever. But dude, like Foolish Heart, No Sherry are great songs, and it just has that like great like 80s.
It's got everything great 80s, great video too.
It's like half 80s rock / half 80s pop with that keyboard sound, right? Like,
sure,
it's great.
Great video.
Oh, I don't think I know the video for this.
Oh, dude,
I'm excited to go watch the video to this now.
Yeah, for sure. The girl's name in the video is Sherry.
Like her real life name?
Yeah, it's his girlfriend, and she's the one in the video.
Oh, so the song's about his girlfriend?
Yeah.
Too? That's sweet. Yeah,
she's the one in the video.
I'm already into it. It's got like medieval
Swafford
vibe to it.
Say medieval?
Doesn't it?
No.
No? What's this guy doing with his like big horn?
Horn? I think you're looking at the wrong video, man.
It says Steve Perry, Oh Sherry video. It's a guy at the beginning with like a trumpet in like a medieval. Dude, is there 2 videos for this song? Because I'm looking at it right now, and it starts with like a medieval wedding, like a Renaissance era wedding, and then it's actually a movie they're shooting or something. Okay, that's probably why.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to get into that. I also love that when Journey decided to replace Steve Perry, they found the dude on YouTube who was singing in a Journey cover band and was like, "Hey, do you want to be in this band?" And it was like days between when they found him and when he was performing with Journey.
It's wild.
I think I saw that on Oprah.
It was big news when it happened. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
It was, which is, because it is kind of like every mega fan's dream. That's like your dream gig. Like any musician of any type has had that fantasy of like, something's going to happen and I'm going to end up playing for like my favorite band. Kind of a
great
like fantasy.
Fucking Mark Wahlberg movie. Shit, what's the name of it? Rockstar. Is it called Rockstar?
Yeah, I think so.
Jennifer Aniston, Mark Wahlberg. The name of the band is Steel Dragon. I keep going.
We got heavy. I do remember heavy movies in the last couple of
heavy movies in the last couple of picks here.
He does a lot of movies like that, like the kind of like underdog story. Like there's the Philadelphia Eagles movie he's in where he's like tries out and makes the team. Like he's really good at making himself seem like the underdog.
I appreciate it.
Stay prayed up.
Stay prayed up.
I was going to do Benita Applebum by Tribe Called Quest.
Benita Applebum, you gotta put me on. Benita Applebum, I said you gotta put me on. Benita Applebum.
For a girl's name.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, a little different, genre mood for girl's name.
That's really fun.
She's got it going on. Benita Applebum.
Yeah, good for you. Now I'm looking up Steel Dragon t-shirts, so that's a problem. I'm gonna get myself a Steel Dragon t-shirt.
I can picture him in that movie. His terrible hair.
I think
by terrible, I just mean like it's totally appropriate but it just looks bad on him. I'm sorry, it just looks bad on him.
Difference of opinions.
He's got that sick leather jacket on though, with the dragons down the sleeve. Yeah,
fucking Steel Dragon's the name of the band.
Man, that band looks legit. If you don't know who Mark Wahlberg is, and you see a photo of this band of Steel Dragon, you're like, that is 100% a real band from the 80s.
We All Die Young. That's the song. Great movie. Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the song. And you're right. It's that storyline. It's the fan to end the band deal.
This is a fun mixtape.
You want to throw out a couple honorable mentions, or is that weird? Because
I threw them out as we went through it, but let me see what I got put over here on my.
I've got a couple here. While you're looking. I just off the top of my head, I was going to go with "You Get What You Give" by the New Radicals for the one hit wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's so, and it is. It's a one-hit wonder. It's a big one. It's one of the ones everybody drops for the 90s, but I went with the Flies instead. And I had I'll bring it up again. I brought it up in the Canada episode, but I had
you got more
Bachman-Turner Overdrive as either I could have done it for Canada or I could have done it for siblings because they're brothers. It's the Bachman brothers in the band. So
man.
It was going to be You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet.
Yeah.
For either of those two. It's a great song. I love that song.
It is a great song.
And I don't even know if it would have been O Canada or if it would have been A Family Affair, but either way. So they deserve an honorable mention.
I already talked about all mine. For Riffage, I had Holy Diver by Dio. For Girls' Names, I had Last Dance with Mary Jane by Tom Petty.
It's a great one.
For Recorded Off the Radio, I had The Sign by Ace of Base. Or, no, that's the song I picked. I didn't pick either of those. You had that one. But I would have picked The Sign or When I Come Around by Green Day. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I had a bunch of them out there.
All right, you want to run down the mixtape?
Let's fire the list. Jamiroquai. Well, here we'll do it by episode.
Okay.
So Virtual Insanity, Jamiroquai. What did you have? What episode was that?
That was Rob Harvilla. So episode 7.
Okay. For spring, we had LCD Sound System, Dance Yourself Clean. For mostly one-hit wonders, we had The Flies, Got You Where I Want You. For Y2K, we had Linkin Park, Paper Cut. For Canadian artists, we had Celine Dion, It's All Coming Back to Me Now. For backpack rap, we had Atmosphere, God Loves Ugly. For what was Filter for?
Recorded Off the Radio.
Filter, Hey Man, Nice Shot. For It's a Family Affair, we had Misfits, Skulls. For 1987, we had George Michael, Faith. For Riffage, we had The Strokes, Reptilia. For Songs That Make Your Eyes Leak, Coldplay, Fix You. And then for Songs with a Girl's Name, we had Oh Sherry by Steve Perry. Oh Sherry.
There it is.
Steve Perry. If Steve Perry and her had gotten married, her name would have been Sherry Perry.
Sure would have been.
Certainly would have been Sherry Perry. Julia Gulia, that's funny. Why is that funny? I don't know.
How to make a mixtape.
Looking forward to the next 12 episodes.
12 episodes, man.
And then the 26th, which will be you and me back together again doing this.
I'm excited to sequence. I've never sequenced before. I'm nervous and excited.
Yep. You got to put this in order. I will be judging you at the beginning of the next episode. We've got at least a few episodes scheduled already. So feel like it's going to be a couple, and they might be spaced out based on people's schedules, but 2 of the ones that we have scheduled are going to be heavier, like not heavy, like crying, heavy, like musically.
Yeah, I've had enough crying for a while. Thanks a lot, Carolina.
So we got to figure out a way to get some stuff in between those, so it's not just like heavy genre followed by heavy genre.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah,
we always seem to do. It
was fun. This is a good time.
I like a Sunday morning.
Yep, Sunday morning. Had my coffee. Record a podcast.
I love it.
Nice. Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the farmer's market. What are you gonna do now?
I don't know. Laundry.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. I actually have to move a load from the washer to the dryer as we speak.
Yeah, laundry day, and then it's gonna rain here, so probably nothing outside today.
Oh shit, that's a bummer.
It's a bummer.
All right, we'll find something cool to do. Everybody listening, do something cool today.
Yeah, go do something fun. Whatever day you're listening to this.
All right, cool.
Bye.